Alright, good evening. This is Corporal Cretella with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Mod cast. I haven't been casting because I broke my my mic. Well, I didn't really break it, but it broke somehow. So I haven't been casting. I've got a backlog of replays to cast. I'm still doing 2.0.6, even though 2.7 or whatever is out. So that means I haven't even been playing the game. There's probably a way to make it so that I could have installs of both versions installed, but too complicated for me, so I just decided to hold out on playing a bit. Anyway, what I have here is a 1 versus 1 replay. This is the first time where I have a game that's like actually pretty good. Well, I guess I did have a good game with Tex and Riku, but some of the games I've been casting haven't actually been that good. This game is pretty good. We got really good players here. We got Toilailee, typically an Imperial Guard player. He is the best Imperial Guard player in the game. But here he's playing Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer, my favorite guy. And in the chat we got Koras over here, this Koras dude who's playing as the Hive Tyrant. He's joking about how the fact that he's already taken some victory points because he's got a 2-cap at the start of the game, which means Toilailee is not going to beat him 500-0. Anyway. So we see that Toilailee is playing Sindri, Trollface, Chaos Sorcerer. Meanwhile, Koras is playing the Hive Tyrant, which I've talked before about how I think the Hive Tyrant is pretty damn good. He astounds me. That's the word I use. He astounds me with how good he is sometimes. We got some engagements going right here. Doom Bolts go off, take about like 30%, 33% health off of those Termagants. Termagants are not upgraded yet, but they are getting the Toxin Sacks. They're going to be really good. Toilailee has gotten as his opening build Heretics, 1 Heretic squad, the starting Heretics, Chaos Space Marines, and another Heretic squad, which these Heretics are in a fight against the Hive Tyrant. They should not do that. They are basically just going to bleed. The Hive Tyrant won't even take that much damage from it. One of the difficult things about getting like a double Heretic build as opposed to double Chaos Space Marine is that you are going to have some trouble focusing down these really tanky melee heroes. Toilailee is getting a Havoc, so that's a secondary source of range fire, but it's still, Havocs aren't really good for damage, they're good for suppression, and the Hive Tyrant can't be suppressed. So right now well, as I'm saying this, the Hive Tyrant is getting forced off. So he did get forced off, but I think he probably bled a lot of Heretic models. In fact, an entire Heretic squad just went down right there. Which, unfortunately, Heretics are just really squishy right now, and it's so easy to lose them. It's part of the reason why I get an aspiring champion. No matter what. Some people say like you shouldn't do it because of the power expenditure, but it's just that Heretics are so fragile that you can so easily lose them. Toilailee is saying, though, good thing Heretics don't cost money. Basically, they're just so cheap right now. They're only 210 that, I guess if you think about it, it's not going to be a huge loss if you lose a squad. Unless you actually do get that aspiring champion, because then you lose the power as well as the wreck. And aspiring champion on the Heretics, which Toilailee is getting right now in this squad, he is 25 power. That is a pretty significant power expenditure. Anyway, Toilailee also got Havocs. Havocs, I love the instant suppression on Havocs. But they're still not going to do a whole lot to this Hive Tyrant. The Hive Tyrant can kind of just go into the Havocs, disrupt them. Although, of course, the game is proving me wrong. The Hive Tyrant seemed to actually take a lot of damage from the Havoc, while also suppressing these Termagants. Instant suppression. Those Termagants are blobbed up, and we got a full retreat from Koras right there. So let's see, and we have here Toilailee got the aspiring champion on a melee Heretic squad. Meanwhile, he upgraded his other Heretics to a grenade launcher. Sometimes, even if I get grenade launchers, I get the aspiring champion, just because this squad is so fragile. You should be able to, I mean, even if you try to keep them in harm's way, it doesn't change the fact that they are so fragile, and if they get hit by anything, they're going to start losing models. Anyway. Sure, it sounds like complaining, but it's just the fact that they're the squishiest squad in the game, and you got to be able to manage that. Anyway, Havocs right here are about to get disrupted. The Hive Tyrant knocks them over, but Hive Tyrant is dangerously low in health. He does disrupt the Havocs, but they will probably get a chance to reset up. Yep, they reset up. Hive Tyrant goes down. All right. So Toilailee is actually dealing very well with the Hive Tyrant. As tanky as I'm saying he's dealing with him very well. Havocs look like they're about to get forced off here, and there they go. Havocs are doing good work though. Toilailee's been managing them very well, so he's been winning engagements a lot based on how well he's been using the Havocs. These Termagants are low on health, but right now he's keeping them on the field because they can be used to capture while Toilailee reinforces his army, because he did just retreat all of his units. Chaos Space Marines are on their way back out. They may get over here in time to start harassing these Termagants. Meanwhile, Koras is capturing a Requisition and power up here. Always good to decap this Requisition, because even if Toilailee gets it back, there's that time when it has been matured, which it needs to remature once Toilailee gets it back. He also gets Eternal War on his Chaos Space Marines. Usually not considered that important for a Tier 1 upgrade, just because the range damage increase is pretty minimal when they only have their regular bolters. It's when you get upgraded weapons with a mark that it's really worth it to get Eternal War, just because the range damage, or not the range damage, but just damage increase in general, is really good. Warrior is right here, kind of running away from these heretics, and also from the Havocs. Chaos Space Marines, if they stay in cover, they do pretty well against Termagants because they don't bleed much. But now we have Hormagaunts coming up here. They will to tie up. Doom Bolts going off, though. Doom Bolts are beautiful. Supposedly they actually got a buff in the Elite mod. They're already really good, just they do so much damage. I guess the only thing is that they're a skill shot, so you can miss it. I find it's difficult to effectively use Doom Bolts against people who know what they're doing, so they keep their army mobile so that they don't get hit by Doom Bolts. And if you do try to Doom Bolt, you'll probably miss, and then you just burn 60 energy without doing anything. Although it is easy to refill on energy from consuming. I don't think it was actually necessary for him to refill on the energy, just because he did force off the Tyranid army. He's getting in a Gen Bash now. His entire army is up here. He's choosing not to cap the power or this victory point because he really wants to get off this Gen Bash and make a good defensive line against the incoming Tyranid army, which is coming in with just the entire army. Doom Bolts, oh, beautiful. Doom Bolts take this squad down to about half health. And we got the Havocs in the back in a really good position to basically just stop the entire Tyranid army in its tracks. It's basically with Koras' current army count position, he can't really approach with this blob right here. He can't approach the Havoc. He needs to flank it. He doesn't have any units that can go around it, although he does have the Zoanthrope. Only 300 health now. The last time I did a cast, it had 333 health, so it's got less health. Zoanthrope's really good unit. Psychic artillery that doesn't telegraph its attack. Like these heretics are getting blasted by psychic power, and Toilailee didn't really know it's coming because he couldn't hear it. Interesting captures going off. Toilailee is capturing Koras' natural victory point, while Koras is capturing and decapturing Toilailee's natural victory point. Meanwhile, in that engagement, Koras lost his entire generator farm. He still has his Hive Tyrant just sitting on the ground. Toilailee is getting a Blood Crusher. You know, I feel like you don't see Blood Crushers that much anymore. I think it's kind of fallen out of like popular favor of the chaos metagame or whatever you want to call it. But I guess Toilailee, not actually being a chaos player, is just saying like, hey, Blood Crushers are fucking good. Use them. And he's going to get one. He does have 2 heretics on the field. That will support them really well, both with the health regeneration from worship and also from having an invisible Blood Crusher. Koras can detect it, though, with these warriors, but right now they're in a position where they may get forced off because they're at like a little over half health. These Termagants, I don't even know where they came from. They're just suddenly behind the Sorcerer and these Chaos Space Marines. Havoc's gotta go. Alright. And here comes the Blood Crusher, ready to do some damage. Koras does have some counters for it in the form of warriors and the Zoanthrope, but the Zoanthrope got forced off by the Sorcerer. Teleporting units and commanders are a good answer for the Zoanthrope. Wow, the Blood Crusher gets snared, and goes down to half health, but now it's getting worshipped. The units that were actually damaging it got forced off. The Hive Tyrant just gets the Crushing Claw so that he can actually do damage to the Blood Crusher. And, oh, this is a bad situation for the Blood Crusher because it has no support, and the Hive Tyrant now has the Crushing Claw with heavy melee damage. Chaos Sorcerer here, Sindri, right, kind of bleeding models, gaining levels. He's at level 3 right now. Hive Tyrant is only at level 1 because he spent most of the past 10 minutes on the ground. And this is definitely a winning battle for the Hive Tyrant. Sindri's probably going to just get out of here once he completes the decap, because it's not worth it to lose the Sorcerer just for that. And he needs to retreat because he doesn't want to get hit by these Hormagaunts either, because they will actually kill him. We got some worship going on down back here. I think just for the sake of returning the Blood Crusher to full health. Meanwhile, the Chaos Space Marine's not even at full health. You know, that's an interesting thing that I'm never really sure what to do. Like, when you play a power armor race, they have so much health for their units that it takes a long time to regenerate their health in base, and you actually give up a lot of map control and field presence if you just have them sitting in base waiting to regenerate to full. But if you take them out when they aren't regenerated to full, then you lose models and you bleed. So it's just a tough choice to balance, I think, when you want to try to go out there without losing models, and when you really need them on the field. Anyway, as I'm talking, the Blood Crusher goes in, had the infiltration, charges through so that he can get right to the Zoanthrope, and he forces off the Zoanthrope. Havoc is suppressing the Tyrannid Blob. Koras might want to consider splitting up the Tyrannid Blob so that he doesn't get suppressed this much by the Havoc. Instead of having his whole army suppressed, he can get suppressed. He can have one unit suppressed while another Termagant squad it basically just shoots the Havoc squad. But I guess Toilailee might also, Koras might also be having trouble just dealing with the fact, obviously, he doesn't have the vision that I have. He doesn't like always see the Havoc because sometimes it's invisible because of the worship, and Toilailee is making good use of the worship with invisible Blood Crushers. Another good thing we're really good with Tzeentch worship is invisible Khorne Space Marines, because I've already talked in some of my replays about how much Khorne Space Marines are so deadly. Like, for a long time I didn't even use them. Then someone showed me just how amazing they can be, and I think they're like my favorite unit in the game right now. Anyway, as I'm talking, we got massive Tyrannid Blob out here. Koras is getting a second Zoanthrope, and this is part of what can be tricky dealing with Tyrannids. Basically, that they have this good artillery unit. It's good, and you can get a lot of them. I don't know how much a Zoanthrope costs. 440. That's not that expensive for an artillery unit. I guess it's more expensive than the Plasma Devastator, but certainly cheaper than a Manticore, although that's because the Manticore is really good. The whole Chaos Army is up here. 2 Zoanthropes is going to be difficult to deal with, especially these. Ooh, alright, that's a nice use of the charge, just charging into the Heretics and jumping right in there. Now the Hive Tyrant does have to go, though. Zoanthrope's getting a little too close, though, and they have to retreat. Mass retreat from Koras. He does have to retreat his whole army, and this Blood Crusher does a horizontal, like a perpendicular charge there instead of going straight forward. Ooh, and right there, that perpendicular charge that I was talking about dropped a Termagant squad to like almost no health, and then the Dark Flames were used to finish it off. The rest of the squads are being reinforced, though, so they're just fine. Takes out a Termagant squad. I think that's it's tough to say, because when you kill Termagant squads and Hormagaunts squads, like on the good side, like Termagant squads, like they can be really annoying with the toxin sacks, but you're also clearing the Tyrannid player's pop cap to spam Carnifexes and the Swarmlord. Although that will be a little difficult to do since he just had his power decapped. His power's been bashed this whole game, so it's a little tough. But he does have these two Zoanthropes, and this Zoanthrope almost died. He was lucky to get it out. But as long as he can get it out, it doesn't bleed, and it doesn't actually hurt that much for Koras. He is getting the Venom Brood out to get some more AV. This Blood Crusher, you know, I've been talking about how people don't really use the Blood Crusher that much anymore, but Toilailee is putting it to use, showing that it's still good unit. He's not using it stupidly. He's not just charging in with it head first and expecting it to just spearhead his army just because it's a vehicle. He is kind of charging ahead with it, but he's using the worship so that it comes in as a surprise, so that Koras doesn't see it coming and he's not prepared for it. Tyrant, Chaos Army, kind of. I find the whole concept of worship weird because technically your worshiping units are stationary, and like if it's stationary, it's like okay, your opponent knows that something's there or that you know what they're using the worship for. Heretic squad gets dangerously low, but the warrior and the venom brute are forced off, and I didn't even see it, but Koras lost the other Termagant squad. Meanwhile, he finally decides he splits up his army. He's got these guys coming in from the side. They are a little outnumbered, but they do disrupt and force off some units. I mean, this Havoc almost died. This Blood Crusher's in a lot of trouble because it's getting hit by, and it's going to go down. I think. Oh, it does go down. Is the Warrior Brood going to go down, taking out the Blood Crusher? Alright, so we traded a Warrior Brood for a Blood Crusher. Toilailee lost. He just lost a Heretic squad. I didn't even see it. Ooh, and Toilailee uses Dark Flames. Does he get that Hormigaunt squad? 1 health. He does not get it, but he did still kill a lot there. He bled a lot. He bled him a lot and destroyed 2 squads. Now, unfortunately, Koras is getting a 3rd Zoanthrope. That's going to be really tough to deal with. This Predator just died as I was talking. I was saying that it was a good investment, but it looked like Toilailee was doing well there, but he actually came out on the bottom of that engagement. He lost half of his army, basically. He lost a Heretic squad, he lost a Chaos Predator, which was upgraded to the Mark of Khorne, and he lost the Blood Crusher. The Blood Crusher did a lot of work before it died, but then it died, and so did the Chaos Predator. Chaos Predator did some good stuff, but then it died, and Toilailee lost a lot of his army. It can be hard to take losses with Chaos or Space Marines, just the power armor races, just because you're mostly investing in expensive units. And if they die, it's a little harder to come back than if you lose Hormagaunts, which, I mean, these Hormagaunts, they haven't even been upgraded. Koras has been saving the power for something else that's more important. I guess he's mostly using these to cap, which is what I think a lot of Tyranid players do with the Hormagaunts. It's going to be really tough to deal with Toilailee having a smaller army. He's got a smaller army. And he's got to deal with 3 Zoanthropes. These Zoanthropes now laying in, but Toilailee does have a great and clean one coming up. Chaos Space Marines bleed models, lose their aspiring champion. They gotta go. Full retreat from Toilailee. Just those Zoanthropes. It's like, what the hell are you gonna do about that? I mean, you need some kind of teleporting unit. I mean, even Toilailee says, the fuck am I supposed to do about that? You need some kind of teleporting unit. The Chaos Sorcerer is a start. He can force them off, but he doesn't really do enough damage to really threaten to kill it unless it's already low. There are Bloodletters. He could get those, but he hasn't. He's getting a Great Unclean One, which is a good choice. It can just tank the damage from the Zoanthropes. It will take some damage from this, but it can probably tank that damage too. It's still a tough situation for Toilailee because even if the Great Unclean One does tank all that damage, Koras can just focus fire Toilailee's other units, and then those units have to go, and then the Great Unclean One is unsupported. It doesn't have worship support, it's all alone. Great Unclean One doesn't actually... It does decent damage, I guess, but it's slow. The abilities are good, mostly for blobs and like high model, low HP squads. So good against the Hormagaunts, but not so much against the oh, he just teleported in with the Great Unclean One. Good play. And now what is he gonna do here? Well, whatever he does the spit, which is it's really good because it does plasma cannon damage. And he did take... Whoa! We got a big sword strike. Alright, this Great Unclean One. Toilailee's proving me wrong. Doing a lot of good work with this Great Unclean One. Turning the battle around with him. Meanwhile, Koras gets Gene Stealers. They do so much damage. They will do a lot of damage against the Great Unclean One, but depending on how well Toilailee manages things, he can force them off just because they don't actually have that much health. They do restore health with some ability they have. That's pretty stupid, but oh, these heretics just got instantly wiped. We got an XD from Toilailee. That's part of why it's so difficult dealing with these zoanthropes. As it is, we got an XD from Toilailee, and we got a crooked face from Koras. If anything, it should be the other way around. Toilailee's just joking about it. He says, I remember X Brothers. I think he's referring to Dodokasin X and Vindicare X. They're complaining apparently about zoanthropes, because they do things like one-shot. When you have 3 of them, they just one-shot a heretic squad. I think that heretic squad, it was the grenade launcher one, so it did not have an aspiring champion, because only I get aspiring champions for grenade launcher heretics. And ooh, alright, he uses the flesh hook ability of the Great Unclean One. It's not called that, but that's what I'm calling it for now, to bring that zoanthrope in, and he actually kills one. Alright, that's good. That's really good. This was a good choice. I guess Toilailee knew what he was doing, and he's bringing on heretics back out here because he also had a dreadnought. I didn't even see the dreadnought. Upgrading to the Mark of Corn. Yeah, that's good. And he's getting new heretics on. He is putting an aspiring champion on them. It's like the only chance they have now with these zoanthropes on the field. We got a warrior brood call in from Koras. He does need the heretics to support. I think he got that to support both the Great Unclean One and this new dread that he bought. It's not really great to have a vehicle with chaos if you only have 1 heretic squad, and it's especially not good to have more than one vehicle as chaos if you only have 1 heretic squad, because then you have low field presence, because whenever your vehicle gets damaged, it takes forever to repair it because you've only got 1 heretic squad. Koras is just oh, he wasn't just walking past the Sorcerer. He's using those abilities to knock back the Sorcerer. I guess he was hoping to knock him back and then use the ridiculous damage of the Gene Stealers to wipe the Sorcerer. Hive Tyrant was down, just got rebought. Still 10 minutes left in this game. Long game considering there's only 94 points left for Koras and 190 for Toilailee. Toilailee, I feel like he's been on the losing end of the... Well, he hasn't always been on the losing end of the fighting. He obviously at one point he was at 3 units when Koras had 5. This Great Unclean One's putting him back into the game. Cloak Dreadnought is a good idea. And I guess he got also these heretics back so he could cloak his Dreadnought and cloak his Great Unclean One and his Havoc in the back. I mean, it's like, even it's like, oh my god, I gotta deal with this Dreadnought and I gotta deal with this Great Unclean One, and now the Havoc's gonna start firing eventually. Let's see what's going on. Oh, Gene Stealers come in for a flank though. He starts getting smart. He's got the Gene Stealers on the Havocs. They are in trouble. They will probably get wiped. They are going to get wiped. When Havocs get flanked by a unit like Gene Stealers, they gotta go, because the Gene Stealers just do so much damage that Havocs will get wiped if you don't retreat them immediately. Now, as I'm talking, that Corn Dread went down. So did the new Heretic squad, and so did those Havocs. Toilailee just lost 3 squads. This Great Unclean One, I guess not as bad as some people thought. Doing some good work. Stomps. The Stomp is, I don't know. The Stomp is not that great. It does do ability now, but we got the Imperial Abyss here. Is it going to take out this Warrior Brood? Well, will it at least take out the Warrior Brood? No, it doesn't. It does take out some Gene Stealer Maulers. Will it take out the squad? It doesn't even take out the squad. Toilailee, and he's hurting his own Great Unclean One. So he does a desperate move with that. Just spends 500 red to do an Imperial Abyss. I don't think it even did that much. Meanwhile, this Great Unclean One is at about 25% health. It's still a lot, just because it's a Great Unclean One, does a lot of health. That time it used the Flesh Hook ability, and it did not pull the Zoanthrope. And now the Zoanthropes are not going to be as squishy anymore because they're leveling. This one's level 3. It's got a whole 400 hit points, and also 130 energy. Yeah, he really does need to worship this Great Unclean One, because it's just, you know, he needs to keep it alive, because it's the only thing keeping him in this game right now. That and the fact that he had a VP advantage. Toilailee's getting another Predator. These Chaos Space Marines are getting shat on by the Zoanthropes. Luckily, they did not lose a model, but they're at like less than 20% health. That's like, I'm not going to do the math. I'm going to say it's like 15% health. Well, I guess as far as worshipping your heretics actually does make them slightly less susceptible to the Zoanthropes, because they aren't all bunched up. So they're actually taking one model out at a time. Heretics are dangerously close to dead now, and they're being worshipped. They are going to die. Toilailee has lost like 5-6 units in this game. He just lost another heretic squad. I think that's the 4th heretic squad he lost. So he's probably lost more than 5 or 6 units. All of his units are low in health. Brood Nest going up here. New Chaos Predator. No upgrade. Man. It's like, what is Toilailee supposed to do? And yet Toilailee's staying in the game, and he's got the victory point advantage. He's got like no army. He keeps getting heretics because I guess according to him they cost no money, and this is like his 5th heretic squad or something. So I guess they really don't cost money, but they are essential, and they also get fucked up really quickly by the Tyrannid army right now. Meanwhile, the Sorcerer is dead. It can be tough sometimes dealing with the Sorcerer. He is level 7, which is pretty amazing. He's been just doing a lot of damage, probably killing all those Hormagaunts and Termagants and stuff. Toilailee says he's clueless. He is still winning. We had a Capillary Tower go up here. We had a Brood Nest go up here. Koras is swimming in red. He could do a Tyrant formation, but it might not be that great considering Toilailee doesn't actually have that much of an army. Big nukes usually not that great if your opponent doesn't actually have that much of an army. It's mostly you use it when they have a huge army, and it's just like you need to do something about it. But don't go to tier 3. Oh, and I guess what I didn't realize is that he's not in tier 3. I was going to say don't go to tier 3 just to use a nuke. He's not using the nuke because he's not in tier 3. No wonder. And that's also why he's not getting Carnifexes. And it's partly because he hasn't had any power nodes or things. He could afford to put it back up right now, but at this point he may not even need it. He's saying, so how's the weather in Finland? I'm guessing Toilailee is from Finland. And he's saying that because Toilailee is chilling over on his side and not actually do anything. So this is Finland over right here, where Toilailee is. And this is whatever country Koras is from. I'm guessing it's not the United States, because most people who play Dawn of War 2 are not from the United States, unlike me. Not Americans. There are a few of us, but not many. Been to Rovaniemi when I was younger. Oh, tank. I'm guessing that's what TNK means. Oh, tank. There's a tank. And this tank is getting shot. Probably not going to last. There's actually a lot of AV on the field for Koras, and we got the the Sorcerer was rebought. I guess the Great Unclean One was teleported back in there. Huge stomp. The Predator does go down though, but this Great Unclean One, I'm starting to think, is the answer to Tyranids. And is this Chaos Space Marine squad going to go down? The level 4 Tzeentch Marines, the only other squad. The only other unit Toilailee had besides his Great Unclean One that was not dying. Ooh, and that vomit does plasma cannon damage. Plasma cannon damage is a great damage type. It does full damage to infantry and bonus damage to both heavy infantry and super heavy infantry. So it's a great damage type. We got the Dark Flames going down. I don't think it's going to kill these Gene Stealers. Will it? Will it? Will it? No. Koras still has a massive army. I feel like that's part of, seems to be what Tyranids do. They're just without number. They just always have units. Koras is about to get a 3 cap against Toilailee, or maybe not, because these Hormagaunts are going to go down. Yeah, they're done. All right, so at least Toilailee will get this victory point back. I guess one of the weaknesses of the Great Unclean One is that the Great Unclean One can't cap. Much like how the Baneblade can't cap. He needs something to come up here and capture a victory point, because the Great Unclean One can't cap. but Toilailee can't win if he doesn't cap something. He's finally got a Bloodletter squad out here. He maybe should have done that earlier on. There's actually only one Zoanthrope left. I must have missed when the second one died. And that was a leveled Zoanthrope that died. This one is level 2. The other one was level 3 and probably got to like level 4. Chaos Sorcerer being a boss. The Chaos Sorcerer at level 10. He actually is really tanky right now. And these Bloodletters coming in, they are under worship. So they are actually not that squishy. But they are still getting hit by things. This Great Unclean one has not died yet. Sorcerer, he hasn't been forced off. He's actually decapping because there's no way he's going to get this middle one right now. He's down to 10 victory points. This is a desperate move. It's the only choice he had to do right now. He is getting. Let's see. Koras is trying to force the Sorcerer off with the Zoanthrope and the Venom Brood, but they're not really good against the Sorcerer. Meanwhile, big engagement right here. Great Unclean one, pretty low on health. Heretics, where are they? I don't know. Oh, yeah, they're right there. They're actually at full health. They're not dying. Alright, ooh. Alright, meanwhile, Toilailee did get that victory point. The Sorcerer, meanwhile, just got wiped. He needs to capture this with his Heretics, or he will not win the game. Somehow, still 3 minutes left in this game. I don't know how. Oh, my God. Can he do it? Now, Bloodletter is down to 1 model. Toilailee, he can afford to reinforce at least 2 models. Okay, so actually Toilailee can tread water just because he can use the Great Unclean one to prevent any Tyranid unit from capturing this victory point. Koras still has his natural. He's down to 3 units now, so we're down to even unit count, but Toilailee's units are almost dead. Actually, he does have his Sorcerer up here while the Hive Tyrant is down. Ooh, and this Venom Brood trying to capture this victory point. The Great Unclean one actually does pretty good damage, but he needs to get them off before they capture it. And there we go. That knockback does knock them off, does stop them from capturing. Sends them back really far. Bleeds a model. This Great Unclean one has been the MVP of the game, clearly. Oh, what's going on here? Warrior Brood getting a little too close. I'm guessing Koras probably losing track of it just in the midst of this crazy ending. Toilailee gets disrupted by this capillary tower. He should have seen that and just moved his Sorcerer to the side, so he could have just walked to the side and started capping again. He should not be attacking the capillary tower. He should be capping. Ooh, this Great Unclean one almost dead. Where are the Heretics? They are coming in, probably to worship. Bloodletters need to come in too. Right now they need to protect. That's what they have to do because the Great Unclean one is near dead. The Great Unclean one still has to protect too. It's just that it could die soon, and Koras is just spamming his capillary towers because he's got 880 red. He can't use a Tyranno formation. Now this is going to be tough because how is he going to force the Hive Tyrant off? He uses the big ass stomp, I forget what it's called, and it does not force the Hive Tyrant off, but the Chaos Sorcerer is decapping. And now he's trying to Koras is trying to force melee the Chaos Sorcerer with Venom Broods. They probably do some melee damage, but the Sorcerer is actually at level 12 now. What Toilailee could even do is teleport to dodge the capillary tower. And as it is, let's see, Toilailee says, weird game. Koras is like, whoa, shit. It's actually looking like Toilailee is going to win this game. Koras is down to the Venom Brood. They can't force off the Sorcerer. They're just not good enough. The Hive Tyrant went down. Koras calls GG. Toilailee calls GG. Toilailee floating a ton of power. Koras floating a ton of red. Really weird game, but probably the best game that I've been able to cast yet. Glad nobody else casted it. Chaos Space Marines down here right at the end, wiping the Venom Brood. Totally unnecessary, but, you know.